Okay, good morning everyone. I think it is about time to put the headsets on and because we can't hear each other otherwise. Welcome to our panel on local content. We are all aware of the huge amounts of content that are being built every day. And if you ever search through the internet, what are the statistics, you would see that there are tens of hours of video materials uploaded every minute on YouTube. The Wikipedia has articles in hundreds of languages with an expanded use of mobile phones and mobile devices, and people are becoming the reporters and producing the content. This is becoming more and more relevant. Now, in most of the sessions at the IGF, usually we discussed, or in the past we used to be discussing the access in sense of the infrastructure and the availability of accessing the internet. But now we are trying to put an emphasis on something else, which is, why do we need that access? It's not going to work unless we have need in sense of services and in sense of content. So what we are going to try to discuss today is what are some of the good examples of production of content, local content and even services which drive the access and drive the development. We're going to hear a couple of examples around the world from business, from NGOs, from the governments, and we'll focus specifically, and I encourage all of you to get involved, not only with maybe your examples of what you know in your parts of the world, but also when it comes to the policy challenges that might be in place or that we might fight against, so that we can encourage local content production and local services. To start the session with, I will invite first Ambassador Philippe Verviers from the US State Department to set the stage in a brief introduction. Ambassador.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. I've been looking forward to this since my friend Garland McCoy had suggested that I might be able to participate. This is a remarkably important subject, and I want to speak just very briefly about, at the highest level, about the policy-related issues and challenges that I think it presents. We're looking at the world for the moment in a very important way to look at it, which is from the demand side. As our moderator said, there's been a tendency over the years to look at internet-related questions from the supply side, to look at it from the standpoint of access. That's a very important perspective. But ultimately, I think it is more important to think about what it is that causes people to want to adopt the internet, to want to use the internet. We have discovered in the United States that even when it is available, we have a remarkably significant segment of our population that doesn't adopt it because it hasn't yet, that segment of the population, of using it. So the question becomes, what can we do to see to it that we have removed all obstacles to the use of the internet? And I think this is a particularly acute question in the context of languages and cultures that don't have large numbers of participants. If you are fortunate enough to have been a native English language speaker, or you are somebody who has learned English as a second language, this hasn't been a particularly serious obstacle. But if your first language is one that isn't widely spoken, if your culture isn't one that is widely known, widely adopted, it's absolutely essential as a policy matter to remove obstacles, any obstacles, to the ability to get content available in the appropriate language. And this means that we have, in this particular subject, as we do in almost all that involve the internet, a requirement to look very, very hard at this from the standpoint of efficiency. As a policy matter, we need to reduce the costs as much as possible to the use of the internet, and that includes the upload side of the internet as well as the download side. So I'm looking forward to the discussion of the examples where this sort of activity has been undertaken, but I do it with, I think, a realistic view that we have some very hard work ahead for a very long time in terms of trying to be sure that the advantages of the Internet are available to everybody on the planet. This is one of the main works that all of us who are friends of the Internet have to attend to in a serious way in the years ahead. So thank you very much for having me. I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Ambassador, and thank you for the chance to have you with us for the entire panel, because I hope there will be good discussions on the policy challenges and encouragements. Now, before we move to the panelists, unfortunately we have only one roaming microphone. It might be tricky to run around for this, what I want to do now, so we'll keep the microphone for later on. But if you have in mind that most of us use Internet for a couple of different things, let's say amusement, education, research, expression, communication, accessing information, what would you have as probably the first interest in accessing the Internet? May I ask you, how many of you would say that the amusement and entertainment would be the first reason of accessing the Internet? Can you raise your hands? Not that many. Let's go into the education. Well, that's even better. Research, expression, communication, and finally, let's say access to information every day. So I think this can be a good guidance for the content and service producers, what they should look for. Now, one of the excellent examples which comes from India is how do you make ordinary people to contribute, to report, to build their own content, especially among women, especially among young people. And then I'm very happy to have Subi Chaturvedi with us, who is from University of Delhi. And I was quite impressed when you started explaining what you do, and I had to stop you at some point because it was so many things. Can you enlighten us, what are you doing in India?
Okay, absolutely. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me on the panel. I can't thank our friend Garland enough for doing that. This is my first IGF, really, and it's been an overwhelming experience, and it's turned out to be everything that one thought that it would be. When I started out, there were impressions that it might just be a talk shop. I don't think that could be further from the truth. We're talking about values and core values of the Internet, and before I come to the India story, and I'll very quickly get to it, this has been an amazing enabling experience. It's been a platform that's put us all together, and everything that the Internet stands for, which is access, transparency, permissionless innovation, everything that you could look at, modularity, coming together, making your interventions, and no protocols in particular in place, TCP or IP notwithstanding. It's been an amazing experience. Where I'm coming from, like you said, it's not one thing but many. Several alter egos. I teach journalism and